I just wanted to say, y'all are so goddamn scary. And I don't mean when it comes to like somebody being right there to immediately try to physically harm you, because yes, that's a reason to kind of be afraid, here and there. Sometimes you can be brave, but sometimes it's scary, depending on who it is. Like sometimes the police, they scare me with the crap they be doing, with the stuff they be doing. But this is about when I was in the jail cell that they call the shitter. Um, they had already been drugging me and poisoning me in the jail. My baby daddy was abusing me. I told you about his charges and everything like that. He's been charged with unlawful restraint, assault, family violence, drug possession, theft, Class C rape, trespassing, assault, family violence, he was convicted for assault on a public servant. And he was assaulting me. And when they arrested me, I was pregnant. He was attacking me and my 22-month-old son in a public place. And I shot him in the leg. I shot a white male in America. And they falsified the police report. I was pregnant when they brought me into the jail. No one would confirm my pregnancy. They put me in a jail cell called the shitter. And there were witches. But first, there were Freemasons who had come to me with lying spirits, saying that they were Jehovah and Jesus Christ, trying to denounce me and saying that they were condemning me. And Jesus Christ came into the cell. And when he came into the cell, they were very afraid of him. And he said that he was the real Jesus Christ. And his voice was very deep, much deeper than theirs. And they ran. Everybody ran. He cast them out and they ran. And it was just him and I. And Jesus Christ jumped into, he came into my body. I was very afraid and I was shaking and looking around, because I was very afraid. And he had to take over my body to keep me from freaking out from what they were doing, because I had never experienced any of this witchcraft before in my life. I had some sort of encounters with witches and demons as far as attacks, where he saved me when I called on his name and said Jesus. But this was much different. They were doing these high power rituals and seances, and they had come into the cell in the spirit. And Jesus Christ had to come into my body to calm me, and he was speaking for me, and my voice was not what you hear. It was the voice of God. It was very, very deep, deeper than a man's voice. And he said, if you kill her, I will put your soul in her body in the grave. And they all ran. And he said, I will give her your body. And he was in my body for a long period of time. I had passed out. And when I woke up, my eyes were blurry. And I looked at my hands, and I had veins, purple veins going all through my skin. And it was all over my body. And I was freaking out. I was like, oh my goodness, like not knowing what was wrong with my body. And Jesus Christ took my hand. He was inside of me. He took my hand and he went down my hand like this, praying. And then he prayed. He went over my arms and prayed, and my skin was restored back to the brown color. My lips were crusted very badly. I don't know how long, I had been passed out on the ground. I was drugged and told to lie down, and I just passed out. And when I opened my eyes, I was blurred, and Jesus Christ was speaking about his bloodline, and he was saying, I'm Merkin, and he showed me his body covered with blood, as if red paint had been poured all over his body. And there were dreadlocks, and a crown of thorns on his head, and it was all covered in this blood like paint. Like if someone were to take a big old gallons of red paint and pour it all over your body to where you could not even see underneath, but you could see the blood. And I was praying, God, usher in the kingdom of Christ, usher in the kingdom of Christ, because of what they were doing, because it was so wicked. And Jesus Christ was saying that when he ushered in the kingdom of Christ, I'm murking. My bloodline. I'll die about it. And he kept saying that. And his body was covered in blood. His hair, the thorns, it all was covered with blood. And he had his hands bound in front of him. And his head was like this. And he was like, murking, murking, murking. My bloodline, bloodline, bloodline. I'll die about it. I'll die about it. I'll die about it. I'll die about it. And he was letting me know what would take place when he come back, that he was gonna fight. And I was still in the cell, and my body was that color, and he was in the Holy Spirit, he was in me, and he had restored the color of my skin. And then he kept praying and put his hand down to my wound, and he prayed over my wound, and I got movement back in my womb because I'm pregnant, and I could feel my pregnancy again. And he had expressed a lawsuit about my son and my pregnancy. And then he said that basically there will be repercussions for what they were doing to us. And then he cast out some witches, because after this I was still in the shitter. And witches, white witches and black witches, some who you guys know and some who you don't know, they had come in the spirit in the cell, and they were trying to jump in my body to make me kill myself. And Jesus Christ was in me, and he started I was freaking out, but he got control of my body, and he started speaking and said, I cast you out of the kingdom of heaven. And then all of the witches who were trying to get in my body, like, it blasted them back. And then they kept coming towards me, trying to keep getting in my body. And he said it again, I cast you out of the kingdom of heaven. And then my body sealed up, and they could not get in me. And then when he said, after my body sealed up, he held out my arms, both of my arms, like in front of me and to the side a little bit. And he said, I call all my bloodlines. And then he said it again, I call all my bloodlines. And then I felt life, like the lives of my brothers and sisters, like all over the world. But it was black people. And I could hear their voices, kind of. And it was like a loud, I want to say, it wasn't like a choir, but it was like, it was a soft spirit. And it, from my fingertips all the way through my arms and my entire body, came more life inside of my body in the spirit. And he told them to take me out, because they was trying to make me out to be a mental patient while they was doing all this. And then Jesus Christ had to speak to the psychiatrist who came to the door, and the psychiatrist was like, do you know what day it is, and do you know how long you've been in there? After they had been in there doing all this spiritual torture and physical stuff, you know, in the jail, they were trying to ask me do a psychic evaluation on me. And Jesus Christ was in me, and he spoke. And he said, put me in a cell with running water, and then come back and ask me about my mental health. And so the psychiatrist walked off and told them to put me back in the segregated housing units in the back, where I had running water and a bed and everything. And I laid down for a bit, and he came and did the psychiatric evaluation and asked me what day it was and all of this, and I passed the psychiatric evaluation. But while I was in the shitter, there was some of the witchcraft correctional officers that had come to the door, like checking on me and trying to talk to me and mess with me, and Jesus Christ was still in me. And I remember one of them came up to the door, and she said something to me, and God spoke to her, and my voice was so deep she ran and went and told that something was wrong with me, because God was in me.